Not sure why my shoes are still on. Well, maybe they're killing me. Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Happy Tuesday, I want to say. I think I'm posting this. Before we get into this video, my nail polish is chipping really badly, but I do take care of my nails, so it's not my fault. It's the nail polish's fault this time. Also, I curled my hair for the first time I think in my life for this video because it was just not doing it for us. So hopefully you guys enjoy it and like it. But for today's video, I'm going to be doing a first impression on, as you guys probably saw from the title, the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded Eyeshadow Palette. Now, Urban Decay did send this over to me, so I did not spend my own money on it. It does retail for $44 though, and it's available on Ulta and Sephora's website, so I will leave a link down below if you guys want to pick it up for yourselves. And I do not believe that it's limited edition. Let's just backtrack a teeny bit. I would say about 6 to 7 years ago, Urban Decay released the original Naked palette, which was pretty much the first high-end major palette that released to the makeup world in general. That's why it got so much hype. That's why so many people purchased it, and including myself basically. I remember I purchased this when I was, I want to say 19. It was my first high-end palette. Saved my ass's money for this one. It really holds a special place in my heart, even though I don't wear it a lot. There's something about this that really I'm like connected to, right? So around last year at this time, Urban Decay discontinued the original Naked palette, and honestly it like broke so many people's hearts, including mine, because it was just kind of like, how can you do that, you know? So I went ahead and purchased another one on sale, but still have my original one that I purchased years ago. So now coming back to the Naked Reloaded palette, which is what you guys are here for today, they released this one as the new all go-to Naked palette that is supposed to kind of be like this, but a little bit different, more amped up and more vibrant, more like fitting for this time, because this came out I think in 2011 and now we're in 2019. I want to read to you guys what it says here on the back because I kind of like it. It says here, remember getting naked for the first time? Yeah. Do it again with the Naked Reloaded, a modernized must-have neutrals with a whole new edge. So yeah, like I was telling you guys, a whole new edge, vamped up for 2019. With 12 can't live without nudes, from soft mattes and satins to dimensional sparkles and metallic shimmers, the go-to naked shades you love just got a glow up. The Naked revolution started with our search for the perfect desert island shades, and the journey continues with Reloaded. That ending just got me, I don't know why. Anyways, for this video I'm going to run through all the shades, speak to you guys about the formula. I haven't tested it out or swatched it yet. I wanted to so badly because it looks so like tushy, but I wanted to wait for this video so you guys can see my first like reaction. I'm also going to compare it to the other Naked palettes as well as the Sultry palette. So we'll see. We'll dive into everything. Okay, so let's talk about packaging first. Once you take the palette out of its box, here's how it looks. It's actually really beautiful. It has like a quilted fabric feel to it, so it's not tin and it's not like sparkly or anything. This is the first time that I'm actually seeing a palette packaged like this, and it's different. I won't say that I'm beyond in love with it, but I do not hate it. I think, like I said, it's different. It's something that I'm not used to. I will say though, if you get this dirty, I don't know how easy it'll be to wash off. It has like that silky-ish feel, and then the word Naked Reloaded is kind of like a little bit raised, I should say, but it has like this bouncy feel, which I think is cool. It opens up just like that, and there's a magnetic closure to it. Before we actually get into the product, I want to tell you guys that this palette is made in the USA and the shelf life is 24 months. Once you open it up, this goes all the way back. There is a mirror here. I love when palettes, like the lids go all the way back, because I find it to be easier for me to actually use, especially if I'm in a rush or if I'm just want to like hold my palette, which I generally do like to do. It just like sits in your hand perfectly. I really appreciate that. Okay, so firstly, what I wanted to point out is that the two shades on the ends are larger than the shades that are in the middle, so that's something to keep in mind. Urban Decay did say that they did that on purpose just because they felt like those are the shades people use the most, which I think is bomb because, you know, they're hearing us, they're hearing our prayers. There are a few finishes that are included in here. We get 5 mattes, 1 matte with little specks of like glitter, which I wouldn't really consider a matte per se, so it's in its own category, I think. And then 6 that are like satin slash metallic. I feel like some of them are more vibrant than others, but we'll see like once I swatch them. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some swatches now. I typically do 2 swipe swatches on my arm so you guys can see like how it looks. And yeah, we'll take it from there. Let's go. Here you guys can see the 12 shades swatched. I have to tell you, whoa, And I'm not just saying that. These are so freaking soft. Not even butt soft, more like ass soft. Like they're so creamy. From the mattes to the metallics, the satins, beautiful formula, at least just from swatching it. You guys saw these are with 2 swipe swatches each. No fallout or anything like that. No skipping, just smoothness galore. And I'm extremely, extremely impressed. I think that Urban Decay really stepped up their game from the original Naked palette. This was good, but compared to this, it's not like, oh my god, like beyond amazing. They also released the Urban Decay Smoky palette, which I was not a fan of whatsoever at some point. That actually also went on sale, and I understood why, because I really didn't like the formula of that, and I didn't think that they performed well whatsoever. They released also the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette, which the formula of this is really nice and amazing too, but I think that this is actually maybe even softer than this, which is hard to imagine because this is really, really nice quality. And then after this, they went ahead and released the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette, which is just basically Sex on the Beach for me. I'm obsessed with this, especially with the color story, and then also I feel like this is even softer than this, which is crazy to think about because this is really, really up there. So to see that they're actually working on their formula and becoming better and better is just amazing, because I feel like they're kind of listening to us and they're not just releasing shit just to release, like, okay, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go, you know? Like, you can tell thought was put into this. You could tell it was used before it was actually released to the whole makeup world. I will say that this palette definitely leans a bit more like neutral. There isn't any warm tone shades in here at all, maybe with the exception of this one a teeny bit, but to the most part it's pretty neutral slash cooler in tone. I know a lot of people were saying that it reminds them of the Sultry palette by ABH. I'm going to kind of get into that now. Yeah, let's do that now. So we're gonna kind of get into that now. I can understand why, and honestly that's what I thought too. I was kind of like, what? Like, I kind of feel like they're super, super similar. I was looking at them both literally today on my bed for like 20 minutes, and I'm kind of like, okay, I can kind of see the difference, but then like they're not really the same, but then they kind of are. The question is, if you have one, do you need the other one, right? I know what you mean. You know what I should have done? I should have swatched these in a more spacious way so that I can kind of swatch this in between those to see if the colors are actually matching. You know what I think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna wipe down half of this and then I'm gonna swatch it right near each other. We got this. Okay, so what I did was I swatched all the ABH Sultry shadows on this side of my hand, and then on this side is basically where I kept the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded shadows. One thing to note is that the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded has 12 shades, and then the ABH Sultry palette has 14 shades. That's why I have 2 of these shades on top here, just because there was nothing like these 2 shades in the Reloaded palette. So, looking at this and then swatching it, I realized that there are many like similarities, but then there are some shades that are just like not even dupes, I should say. I think the first shade that looks the most similar is probably this like orangey, peachy type of shade. Yeah, the one from the Urban Decay palette has a little bit more redness to it. The one from the ABH Sultry palette has more of like a peachiness to it. The cream shade is also very, very similar. They both have little baby different undertones to them, but like, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing to the most part. Now, these 2 shades I actually thought would be very, very similar, but they swatch super, super differently. It's the shade Daydreamer from the Reloaded palette, and then Cyborg from the ABH palette. Cyborg is definitely more like silver foil, I should say, and then Daydreamer has more like a silverness to it, but also a brown undertone to it, so it looks very different. In the pan, they kind of look similar, but like swatched, very different. We also have these 2 like metallic-y browns. The ABH one has a little bit more like vibrancy to it as opposed to the Reloaded one, which is a little bit more muted, I should say. And then also these 2 can kind of be a bit similar, but you could see the ABH one has more of a cooler undertone to it, and then the Reloaded one is cool but not as cool as this one. So definitely some similarities going on over here. What I think I want to do for this video, even though I feel like it's gonna be a lot and it might be like a really long one, I think I wanted to do one eye with the Naked Reloaded palette and then the other eye with the ABH Sultry palette, so you guys can actually see me use the most similar shades, right? And towards the end, I wanted to see like if the eye look is going to be completely different or if it's going to be very, very similar. And I feel like that would be a good way to determine if you need this palette, if you already own this, or, you know, if you don't need this palette, if you already own this. Is this all making sense? I feel like I'm all over the place. I did do a look and first impression with the ABH Sultry palette, which I'll leave a link in the description box if you want to see, you know, swatches and me talking about it a little bit more, but it's an amazing, amazing palette, great cool tone one. Firstly, I want to start off with the Urban Decay Primer Potion. They actually sent this over as well with the Reloaded package, and I haven't used this in years, like solid years. I rarely use primer in general. You guys already know that if you've watched my videos, but I wanted to use it for the sake of this video. I do remember enjoying this primer, so I'm pretty sure it's not going to affect the look. Okay, so this eye right here, right eye is going to be the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette. Left eye is going to be the ABH Sultry eyeshadow palette. First shade I'm gonna go in with is this one right here, which is in Bribe. It's a nice cream shade. Let's do this. There's a little bit of kick up, but nothing major. Just gonna set my eyes with that. I feel like the shade has the slightest sheen to it, so just have that in mind. Then I'm gonna go in to the then I'm gonna go in with the ABH Sultry palette and use the shade Fresh on my lids to set that side of my eye. Wow, hopefully this video will not be tongue twistery because we're all over the place today. Okay, so for the first actual shade, I'm gonna go in with the shade Retro right here, which is like this corally color. Pick that up on the brush. It picks up really nicely, and then blend that out in the crease. I'm gonna try to use shades obviously where I see similarities between both palettes, and not shades where I don't see similarities, because then the eye look is really gonna come out different. I wanna really see if I can create the same freaking look. So far, this shade is blending out pretty nicely, just as I presumed. All right, for this eye, I'm gonna go in with the shade Blue, and I'm gonna take a little bit of my brush. I wanna put this over here and blend this out. It's so funny, like I always have an easy time with one eye, but then a hard time with the other eye. Like this eye, I feel like I'm always doing a good job with, but it happens to be the one that comes out worse than this one. And this one I feel like I'm doing a bad job with, and it always comes out good, which is so weird. It's just me, you know? Okay, so what I'll say right off the bat is with the ABH one, I only went in once to get this color intensity, but with the Urban Decay Reloaded, I had to go in like 3 times to get it to this intensity, and now I feel like they're kind of even. So there's that. The next shade I think I want to go in with is the shade Birch. I don't really want to go in with this because it's not my vibe, but I feel like the shade Bucked is kind of similar, and I want to see like how they're gonna, you know, look on the eye. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this. I think Bucked has more brownness to it and is a little bit more warmer-ish. This one right here is just like, I don't know, I don't like this color, but whatever, we can use it. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this and put it in the crease as well with this big fluffy brush. I just want it to be like all over the place. Add a little bit of brownness to it. It's a nice color. And that shade applied really nicely. I like that a lot. I'm gonna go in with Birch right now on the other side and do the same exact thing. Let's see. Kind of looks similar. Okay, the next shade I think I want to go in with is Endgame, which is this like deepened brown, and then for this side of the eye I'm going to go in with the shade Dystopian, which is this deepened brown. So this I'm going to take on a little bit of a smaller brush to get a little bit lower in the crease, so it's not going to be like all over the place. But I will tell you guys, so far I do like how the Reloaded shadows are performing. They're very soft, a little bit of pickup like I mentioned, but very nice so far. So I'm going to put this like right over here. Whoa, calm down, calm down. So with this brown, the shade Endgame, I pretty much just kept it like in the outer V area and swept it in my crease a teeny bit, but mainly focused on the outer V. Now I'm ready to go over to this side, and I'm gonna wipe down the brush a second on this pillow here that has linen on it, and then take some Dystopian and do the same exact thing on this side. Okay, so I finished blending out both sides. I will say that the one from the Reloaded palette has more of a softness to it, so it's a brown but not super saturated and like darkish black. However, the ABH one is brown. It's like very, very saturated, almost black looking. So I guess depending on your preferences, you'd like this a bit more or this. They were both really easy to blend out. With this, I went in twice. With the ABH, I just went in once, and this is like full like color payoff that I got. This does not have any fallout. Yay. Okay, then I want to use a shade for the lid, but I don't think any of these shades are like super similar. Like I think they're gonna look very different on the eyes, but I want to choose obviously the one that looks the most similar to me, I guess. So I'm going to use the shade Rose Quartz, which is this like pinkyish color for the ABH side. And then here there isn't really one that like resembles that really, because we have these two shades here, but these two are more like brownish orangey in tone. I think I'll use though the shade Reputation. Yeah, because Angel Fire could be good, but this has like white to it. But you know what I think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use Angel Fire and then one of these on top to see if it can kind of mimic the same color of Rose Quartz. Let's see. So I'm just gonna take a little bit on my finger and put it on half of my lid, I want to say, up to like the brown. There's that. I'm just gonna blend out the middle part so it's not like crazily harsh. We'll fix it up soon. I'm gonna go in with Rose Quartz for this side right now. Wow, this is awkward positions 101. I still didn't figure out how to like film this because I'm not a lefty, so I can't put it with my left hand. You know, yeah, they're a little bit different. Let's see if I'm gonna. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out. Let's just try a little bit anyway. Okay, let's just do it. Putting that on this side. Just like really lightly. Yeah, okay, fine, I see. I see where you're coming from. Now they definitely look a bit more similar. Cause that whitish shade had like a pinkiness to it, so mixed all together, it's coming along pretty nicely. Let me just do some wind wiper cleaning situation moments here. So what do you guys have to say about this? I have to hear your comments down below. Do you think it's similar? Do you think it's not? I mean, I didn't finish the look, so we don't know 100% yet, but just based off this, like, what are you thinking right now? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do the lower lash line. For the Urban Decay set, I'm gonna use the shade Day Weaver, which is this one right over here, and then Cyborg on the ABH's side. And like I mentioned with the swatches, they were a bit different, but I still kind of want to see how it looks like on my face. Tap it off. Damn, whisper that. Why am I whispering? It's very interesting with this shade. It's funny because like I kept saying, you would think this one and this one is like similar, but it's not. This actually like applies more brownish in tone, which is very interesting. Like it literally does not even look silver at all. I'm gonna go in with Cyborg now for this side of the eye. So this is where it's probably gonna look pretty different because Cyborg is more silvery in tone and much more metallic, I should say. The Urban Decay one is more like satin metallic, like in between that. All right, how are we doing this or what? I'm just gonna wipe off the excess because there was a little bit of fallout, especially with the ABH one down there. Now, typically I wouldn't really use such a shade for my lower like lashes because it is like they're both metallic-y type of shades, and usually I would go in with more of a matte. But since I was curious to see how the colors differ, I wanted to just apply that on the lower lash line. But yeah, they're very, very different. Like very. I think I'm gonna go in with another shade because I'm not like loving how this looks on bottom. I need to be a bit more vibrant and like there. Here, let's maybe go in with the golds. I don't know, let's just see. We're gonna go in with this shade Barely Baked and then Steampunk. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the eye look. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put some eyeliner, mascara, false lashes, and I'll be back in a second for you guys. I think I want to highlight my inner corner and my brow bone, which I typically do with you guys. I'm gonna use the shade Angel Fire, which is this one, which is the shade we went initially in with on the lid on this side. And then I'm gonna go in with the shade Pearl, which is this one. So this is the ABH in Pearl. Then I'm gonna go in with Angel Fire, which has more of like a goldeny undertone to it, as opposed to the ABH one, which has more of like a pinkiness, I want to say. Oh, let me just go ahead and put on lip product and we'll round up thoughts. So I'm going to use this Too Faced lipstick, which I've been using a lot. I really like it. It's in the shade Strip Search. And then I'm going to put the NYX Butter Gloss in Creme Brulee on top, which is one of my favorites. Love it. So now let the talking begin. If I would just be making a regular video, would you be like, both of your eyeshadows do not look the same? Would you not even comment? Would you even realize? Yes? Yes or no? I need to know this information. Looking at my eye look, I literally think that they look pretty much identical. The lower lash line is a bit different on this one than on this one, but not crazily off now that I'm looking at it. So let me just speak about this for 2 seconds. I will say that it performed really nicely. There was barely any fallout. I think that the shade Angel Fire kind of crumbled up a little bit when I dipped my brush in there, so that's something to keep in mind. Everything else applied really nicely. These shades are very soft, so I think great for every day. but they can also be dramatic if you want them to be. It's very easy to build up. You guys know that I'm someone who goes very heavy-handed very fast. I'd rather do that and fix it than go in little by little. I feel like with this palette, that's kind of what it is. Like, if you're a beginner, it probably will be beneficial for you, or if you do like to build up slowly, this is something you might like. So with the ABH palette, I feel like these shades are a bit more saturated in color, so when you go in with this, you pretty much need to go in once and then just blend it out. There's no going back and forth, even if you kind of go lightly. At least that's just what I think. Does that make sense, you know? So in one way, I prefer the ABH Sultry palette as opposed to this one. But with that being said, this is still a good, well-curated palette, and I think that the shades go really well hand in hand with each other. I could see myself using this more on a day-to-day basis where I'm going for more of a natural look and I don't want to go like boom. But if I'm going for something more dramatic and I want it to be like crazy intense, I'd probably maybe stick to this one. Here's a comparison of the original Naked palette, which is on top, and then the Reloaded one is on bottom. Very, very different. Like, I don't even think anything is in common with these two. So if you have the Naked original and you were thinking if it's similar or not, I think that it's very different. Now, if you have the ABH Sultry palette, do I think that this is necessary? Probably not. So if you want to save yourself some money, I would say that you most probably don't need this in your life if you're like tight on cash, or if you're thinking like, do I really need that? Probably not if you have this. If you don't have this palette and you want to possibly pick this one up, which one would I choose? I mean, I really like both. I think that they both performed really nicely. This one I've been enjoying for the past few months, and this one just from today, I think it's really good. I do want to use it a little bit more just to really see like what I can create with this. I think that the Urban Decay Reloaded is a little bit easier to work with than this one, especially if you're someone who is just a beginner like I mentioned before, or if you like to go in little by little, or if you like something more to wear on a day-to-day basis and something that could be worn like to a wedding that's more dramatic, then you know, this. With this, I kind of feel like you have the option to go more natural with this, but it's harder with this one than with this one, if that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyways, I think that's pretty much it in regards to my review on these two palettes. It doesn't take away from the quality of this. I do really like it so far, and the packaging is kind of cute. I spoke about this in my yes, no, maybe so video, and it was in the maybe pile because I just didn't know if I wanted to pick it up or not. If Urban Decay would not have sent this to me, I probably would have picked it up, but maybe like if I would get 20% off at Ulta or Sephora, I don't know if I would have purchased it for full price knowing that I have this one and it's kind of similar. Do you know what I'm saying? There's pretty much my review, my thoughts, and my look on both of these palettes. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this and found this video helpful. I would absolutely love to know what you guys think of this palette, if you think it's similar to this, if you want to pick this up regardless if you have this, if you're gonna skip out on it. What's the story? What's your thoughts? I need to know down below. I think that's pretty much it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.